In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a coloring technique to determine which angles are congruent and which angles are supplementary, and also find any missing angles that you may want to know. First thing you should do is color the parallel lines the same color. All other lines should be colored their own unique color. You'll notice I've extended all of these lines so that I can see all of the angles that are formed that were not necessarily seen in the image. After I've drawn my colors onto my image, I need to pay attention to which lines are the same color because those angles will be related by either being congruent or supplementary. The angles in the top right corner are formed from orange and green, so are the angles in the bottom left, therefore they must be related. The angles formed in the bottom right corner are formed from blue and orange, and they must be related to the angles formed in the top left corner, which are also blue and orange. After you color your picture, you should go around it and label it with tick marks. In the top right corner, I'll start with 1 and alternate to 2, go back to 1 and 2. In the bottom left corner, I will match up those corresponding parts so that those two groups look the same. 1, 2, 1, 2. I will use that same idea for the angles that are represented by the green circles. I will use 3 tick marks on these, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, alternating as I go around. I will match up the corresponding parts in the bottom angle group. Once I've labeled my picture, I can see that angles that have the same tick marks are congruent to each other. So anything with 1 tick mark is now 32 degrees. And any angles represented by 4 tick marks is 40 degrees. After doing that, take a look at the linear pairs. The angle down here on the bottom right is a linear pair with the angle formed by 3 tick marks. I know those should add up to 180 degrees, so it must be 140 degrees. Now I can label all of the angles with 3 tick marks as 140 degrees. I can use that same idea with the angles over here on the bottom left. I know this is 32 degrees and it should be supplementary or a linear pair with the 32 degrees with the 2 tick marks. Taking the difference between 180 and 32, I will get 148 degrees. I know all angles with 2 tick marks are now 148 degrees. After I do that, now I'm going to pay attention to the triangle that was formed when I extended my lines. I will look at the one on the bottom. You'll notice that we now have the 2 base angles, 32 degrees and 40 degrees. From a previous class, you should remember that the angles inside, the sum of the interior angles in a triangle should add up to 180. Therefore, making the angle at the top 108 degrees. Finally, use the idea of linear pair to help you find x. since 108 degrees and x degrees will be 180 as the two angles sit side by side and are supplementary. Therefore, x degrees should be actually 72 degrees. You can use this technique to help you set up problems, or you can use this technique to help you find missing angles without having to memorize vocabulary.